Workers' Party candidate Harpeet Singh has issued a pointed challenge to his opponent, Deputy Prime Minister Gan Kim Yong, calling for greater transparency over Gan's involvement in the cancelled Income-Allianz deal. Addressing residents of the Punggol Group representation constituency during his rally speech on Monday, Singh stressed the need for fair politics and accountability in Singapore's leadership. The senior counsel argued that critical questions raised by former NTUC Income-Allianz Suee must be answered by DPM Gan, who is leading the People's Action Party team in Punggol GRC for the general election 2025. In an open letter dated 28 April 2025, Tan called for DPM Gan to disclose his role in the deal, citing concerns about regulatory oversight and the strategic direction of NTUC entities. Tan's letter, widely circulated on social media, marked his fourth attempt to seek accountability from Gan, following 3 earlier letters sent between August and September 2024. Tan highlighted that as chairman of both the Monetary Authority of Singapore and the Singapore Labour Foundation, Gan was at the centre of decisions with significant implications for NTUC Income's social mission. He raised questions about why MAS permitted Allianz to proceed without injecting new capital and why it allowed the stripping of $1.85 billion in cash reserves from income insurance in the failed 2.2 billion Singapore dollars Income-Allianz transaction. Tan further queried whether MAS knowingly enabled the transaction without sufficient protections for Income's cooperative principles or social objectives. He noted a troubling silence from MAS amid growing public concern in 2024, even as ministers such as K. Shanmugam appeared unaware of critical internal developments. The letter also questioned governance practices across NTUC-linked entities, criticizing the dilution of SLF's shareholding in NTUC Enterprise from 30% to 20% in 2021. Tan suggested that such moves weakened government influence over socially significant enterprises and demanded greater transparency from leaders overseeing them. He also warned of conflicts of interest arising from leaders holding multiple senior roles across NTUC Enterprise, Income Insurance, and SLF, potentially compromising independent decision-making. Singh echoed these concerns during his speech, stating that real leadership never fears scrutiny and welcomes difficult questions as part of the democratic process. He directly called on Gan to either answer the questions posed by Tan or explain why he would not, asserting that such accountability was essential for restoring public trust. Singh also criticized NTUC Secretary-General Ng Chee Meng, who is contesting in Jalan Kayu SMC, claiming that Ng had dropped the ball by supporting the transaction without identifying critical issues later raised by Tan.
Let me next say this. What is critical for us on the other side is fair politics and accountability. A lot has been said about the Allianz deal. Mr. Ng Chee Meng was head of NTUC at the time, and he saw no problem with it. Make no mistake, he dropped the ball. We now know that DPM Gan also had a role in the transaction because he was chairman of MAS, the regulator ultimately deciding whether to approve this transaction or not. Mr. Tan Chieh has now written an open letter to all residents of Punggol GRC asking serious questions of DPM Gan. So let me say this to DPM Gan, and I say this respectfully. DPM Gan, will you answer Mr. Tan Chieh's questions? Because they are important questions being asked on behalf of all Singaporeans. And DPM Gan, if you will not answer, please tell us why you will not answer. Because this is about accountability, and real leadership never fears scrutiny. It welcomes it.
Observers note that the controversy around the failed deal and Gan's regulatory oversight could be a key issue influencing voters in Punggol GRC during this election cycle. Gan, who previously served in Choa Chu Kang GRC, shifted to Punggol in a last-minute transfer, having earlier been expected to defend Choa Chu Kang, where he had served for the past 2 decades. While DPM Gan has yet to formally respond to Tan's latest letter, PAP representatives have previously defended the transparency and governance standards of NTUC entities. However, Tan's persistent public letters and Singh's fresh political challenge have amplified calls for greater clarity from the highest levels of leadership. As Singaporeans prepare to vote, issues of transparency, governance, and political accountability are likely to weigh heavily on the minds of many, especially in closely contested constituencies like Punggol GRC.